Hello BookTube, welcome back to my channel, A Little Geek, A Little Chic. I'm here today to talk to you guys about the books that I plan to read in November. So, grab yourself, your beverage of choice, and let's get into it. My November TBR. Hey friends, welcome back. It is November. I'm excited because I'm going to do something totally different than I've done before, and I am going to do something that scares me, and that is fantasy. So, let me start the video by saying if you guys hear some random noises, my husband is actually up on the roof putting up our Christmas lights because where I live on Sunday, we're supposed to get like 25 centimeters of snow. So, that's a lot of snow. Perfect time to be inside, curled up with a very large book. That's what I thought anyway. So, like I said, in November, I'm focusing on fantasy. I haven't really read any fantasy books outside of your standard Harry Potter. So this could be a huge undertaking for me. And I realized I just put some books that I would like to get to. Am I going to get to them all? I don't think so. There are some big mama books in here. And I didn't realize how adventurous this selection was until I saw the sheer magnitude of the amount of pages that are in these books, you guys. So many pages. But let's get into it. Okay, so the first book I intend to read, which I know absolutely nothing about, zero backstory for, is Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I have not read a Brandon Sanderson book, and I was told that this would be a good series to start with. What do I know about it? Literally nothing. I am 14 pages in, and it sounds entertaining. It sounds like there is a lord who rules with an iron fist, and I guess all these different lands or kingdoms or areas are ruled by different hierarchies, or a ruler or a lord, and they're kind of governed by somebody, some kind of a party, because this guy has an inquisitor who comes to check and make sure that his slaves, or Shah, I think they're called, are behaving properly, and that he's not doing anything he shouldn't, because apparently they're just commoners, and maybe the people who rule have some kind of abilities that we haven't gotten to yet, and I think they fear, from what I get from the first part, that potentially a lord could have some kind of relationship with the Shah and develop a halfling or like a half-breed that has some kinds of powers and can lead an uprising. So it sounds good. I'm terrified, like I said, because all these books, you guys, have like full maps in the front and like places, and I'm gonna do this. I got this. I got this. My friend Kim from Bookshelf Bunnies on YouTube here says that you just gotta just dive into the fantasy and just let your brain work it out, and it'll happen. You can do it. And so I am trusting her 100%. And we are both reading fantasy. She's reading, I think, the Way of Kings series by Brandon Sanderson right now, which I really want to read. Is it the Stormlight Archive? Is that what it's called? Like the full realm of those stories. I do really want to read those, but I've been told that this series is the one to start with for Brandon Sanderson. So we'll test it. Second book I have on my list is Uprooted by Naomi Novik. Novik or Novak, that's how you pronounce her last name. This, I believe, is like a Beauty and the Beast style, kind of a loosely based Beauty and the Beast retelling, and I've heard it's an independent standalone novel of hers. A lot of her stuff is a series, so this is a standalone, so you can read it by itself, and apparently the writing is beautiful. That's all I needed to know. They say you won't be able to put it down. It'll grip you from page 1. So maybe this is going to be what I pick up on Sunday to just feel accomplished and maybe fly through a book when there's a whole bunch of snow outside and I can't go anywhere. So, book number 2. Book number 3 is A House in the Cerulean Sea. This is a feel-good fantasy kind of a story about a gentleman who is basically a social worker for children of abilities, special children. And he goes around to different places and basically checks on the living quarters of these children and how they're being cared for. And he's a single gentleman who is set on being a single gentleman who doesn't feel like love is a thing for him, so he spends his time assisting these children. And apparently it's just all the feel-good vibes. It just gets you right in the heartstrings, and I am game for this. This will be a nice breakup from more of the war and fighting based fantasy that I have on the docket, and maybe a little less brain heavy in the map world building situation I have going on. I have two other books. This one was super popular, I think a year ago on BookTube, and I have not read it, but I do own it, and I do own the sequel, and that is Children of Blood and Bone by Tony Emietti, I believe is the name. Tomi Emietti? Ediemi? I'm sorry if I butchered your name. I'm trying. Again, if I can't even pronounce the names, I am terrified for the actual books. But I got this. This is about, I guess, a king comes into the country from what I get, or the land, and has decided that magic is no longer a thing. And the lead character, I believe his mother, has been murdered or killed off for having magical abilities. And she has had to hide, I think, her magical abilities, or hasn't come into power yet. I'm not sure what happens. And in order to survive. So, and I think there's some kind of uprising and calamity ensues, and as it does in fantasy books. So it's a chunky one. I'm excited to read it. It was very, very popular, like I said, and got amazing reviews. So let's put this one down and let's have a drink for the last book on the list, because this is a big one, guys. Okay, you ready for it? Priory of the Orange Tree. When I bought it, I thought reading fantasy would be cool, and I loved the cover. Like, look, let's have a moment. It's just stunning. It's a standalone fantasy, so a nice change up, because a lot of fantasy is not standalone. It's usually series. And it focuses on a queendom, which is super awesome. It's a land that is ruled by women of power, but this land currently does not have an heir to the throne. So the issue that they're going to have is they have to find an heir, and I believe there's something to do with dragons and keeping them at bay, and the different lands decide on how to do that, and they have different views on the best way to stay and ward off the dragons, I think, or the evil powers that be. I think again, don't know too much about this, but I heard there was dragons and there's a queendom, and it was a fantasy, and it was a standalone. So I was like, yep, I'm down. And I had my mind made up when I went to buy this last year and got scared off by the sheer size of this book, you guys. You ready for this? Yeah. It might be bigger than Pillars of the Earth, which is currently the largest book I have read. And this one is 830 pages. So it is not bigger than Pillars of the Earth, which means I can do this. Can I do this and this and this and this? Oh yes. And this? All in 1 month? Well, I'm gonna come back at the end of the month and let you guys know if I was successful, and you'll find out. I am hoping I can, but again, look at these from the side. Just like bigger, huge. Cross your fingers for me, guys. I'm gonna do my best. I'm also planning on listening to a couple of audiobooks. I do have the Wayward Children series, I think. Is it that what it is? The Shawnee Maguire. I already read Every Hearted Doorway, and I have the other 4 books in the series, I think, queued up on Scribd, so I can listen to those this month because I'm gonna do all fantasy. And I have downloaded from my library another fantasy book. I believe it's Legendary, the sequel to Caraval, which I did read about a year and a half, 2 years ago, and I did really enjoy it. So that's it. That's all the books that I hope to read in November. Again, like this video if you like what you saw. Subscribe down below to see more videos from me, and I will see you guys back here with a new video soon. Stay safe.